passing Babe Ruth. I say again, an American hero. Woody Page, you covered the man at the end of his career. Clinton Yates, you have spoken about the impact he's had on you as a man and a baseball reporter. Let's start there. Woody Page, first to you.
More important than how I remember him is how he wanted to be remembered. And he said in an interview, in terms of baseball, I want to be remembered as playing the game the right way. He said, more important than that, I hope that I was able to help mankind. You've got to consider that that was his legacy as far as he was concerned, and our legacy toward him is he was an incredibly classy man, incredible great player, and an incredible guy who handled all of the racial inequality and pressure that he had to go through and endure as he was going after the home run title of all time. And he will always be my home run king. You could talk about others, but he did it, and I think that he should be established as the greatest baseball home run hitter of all time.
Clinton Yates?
There's a couple different things that come to mind when thinking about Henry Louis Aaron. Number one is that he came from an era of baseball for black players that we just don't see that much anymore. He played in the Negro Leagues. He's from a town, Mobile, Alabama, where there are 5 baseball Hall of Famers from that town alone who were black folks. Additionally to that, people think about the home runs all the time. Hank Aaron is the major league leader in RBIs and total bases as well. The baseball itself is incredible when you think about how he played. Overall, though, as he is an American icon just in general, he comes from the generation we call the Seen Some Things generation, and he represented himself so well doing all of that. It's tough to think about a world in which Hank Aaron doesn't go through what he does go through in order for all of us to be able to do what we do around baseball. But like Woody said, he was one of the classiest people ever, and he reminds me of a generation that we just don't have anymore because that's just not where we are with baseball in America today.
Mm-hmm. Tim Kalishaw?
You know, I think about the good stuff and the bad stuff. I think of the good stuff in the 60s when the National League was way ahead of the American League at getting past the color barrier, and they would trot out for an all-star game, Mays, Aaron, and Clemente in the outfield with a little Lou Brock, you know, coming off the bench, and they had a nice long winning streak those years too. And then the bad stuff in 1974 when we were about 10 years past what we thought were, and they were big deals, the Voting Rights Act, civil rights legislation and all that, and yet the death threats and everything he got because he was going to break Babe Ruth's record. And because of the way it overlapped, finishing 1 year at 713, it was an entire off season of that discussion with Aaron, and for him, all those threats. And just how pathetic that was, but how magnificently he handled it all.
Sarah Spain.
Yeah, I don't have the connection to baseball history that Clinton does, and I don't have the age to have watched him play. So my connection to him is essentially being told throughout my lifetime and being raised with an understanding of this person as not only one of the greatest athletes of all time, but having done so much beyond that. And I think you guys mentioned the letters and the threats. To imagine trying to achieve the greatest accomplishment of your life, at least in sports, while simultaneously fearing for your life because of the weakest and most evil among us, that's an expectation that so few of us would be able to rise to the way he did. And to Clinton's point, because I didn't watch him, what happens is I hear about all these numbers and these accomplishments, and the one that I saw that maybe stood out the most is for all the home runs we talk about. If you took away all of his home runs, he would still have over 3,000 hits. And there isn't anybody else in the 500 home run club who can claim that. And he had 755. You're taking away 755, and he has over 3,000 hits.
A lot of hits.
Remarkable.
Clinton Yates, something you'd like to add?
One of the classiest things he ever did was when Barry Bonds broke his record, he pre-recorded a message to tell him congratulations, even though it was controversial at the time. In his hometown of Mobile, Alabama, where the stadium is named after Hank Aaron, there is his childhood home, which is a museum. If you ever get the chance, check it out. You will see some of the most amazing American history that we have.
It is American history, and it's American present. I want to read a quote, okay? This is a quote from Hank Aaron. This is the 20th anniversary of him breaking the record. So this was in the 1990s. This is to Arthur C. Roden, the great Arthur C. Roden. The New York Times was in the obit today. It really made me see for the first time a clear picture of what this country is about. My kids had to live like they were in prison because of kidnap threats. I had to live like a pig in a slaughter camp. They carved a piece of my heart away. So in changing the game and in changing the country took the game away from Hank Aaron. And that, I said before, his full story still isn't told. We always talk about the home runs. It's always said he's a gentle giant, a classy man. That's not fair to him. It's really not. We never knew what Hank Aaron could be without those incredible attacks and pressures placed upon him. We just had Martin Luther King Day on Monday. All right? What happened to Martin Luther King? He was murdered. His full potential was never reached. How can we possibly know what Hank Aaron's full potential? He started in the Negro Leagues. Major League Baseball recognized the Negro Leagues weeks ago. So when you talk about Hank Aaron, I mean, there is sadness in that. And to be true to history and our present, we have to keep that conversation going on who he was. It's the story of America. Hank Aaron, American hero, passing at age 86. We move on. Let's talk about the NFL Championship weekend, one of the great weekends in sports. We got these 2 games Sunday. It's just 7 hours of football. Tampa at Green Bay. Doppler says it'll be 30 degrees with snow showers. Historically, we know how Tampa's played in the cold, but Tom Brady has played games in the cold. He's choked and his blood has gotten thinner recently. Tim, who would you rather have to get to this year's Super Bowl, Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady?
Okay, Tony, I'm sitting on 0 points, so I'm reluctant to sit on the fence here. I know that's dangerous. The answer is Aaron Rodgers every week. I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers. But the 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, I don't know if that's the right answer. One of them's been to 9 of them. The other guy's been to 1 of them. I think I'm still taking Rodgers in this specific game, in this specific season, with the acknowledgement that Tom Brady has shot way past my expectations in Tampa Bay this year and way past everyone's expectations in his 40s, and it feels kind of ridiculous to pick against him.
So was there an answer there from Kalishaw?
The answer was Rodgers.
Okay, but you feel ridiculous, which is, I appreciate you feeling ridiculous. Here, let's make you look even more ridiculous. Sarah Spain, how about you?
I don't blame Tim for that answer. You're making me decide between a guy and Brady, who every time I say I think it's over now, makes me look
I'm
stupid.
making you decide? They're playing on Sunday, Sarah. This is the business you've chosen, please.
Oh, are they arm wrestling or are their teams playing? Anyway, back to my point. I'm picking between somebody who makes me look stupid when I pick against him with the Patriots or somebody who makes me look stupid when I pick against him and he carves up the Bears. These are 2 guys who have consistently made me look dumb when I haven't believed in them. I'm picking Rodgers because of his play this year and because I think there's less of a simple way to beat him.
I think there was an answer there, and you said you look dumb sometimes doing this, so now you look like this. Clinton Yates, how about you?
I'm absolutely picking Rodgers, number 1, because they're at home, and number 2, I don't have to go back into the annals of football to just remember Week 6. It was a very oddball game. Rodgers threw a pick 6, which is something that almost never happens. He threw another pick, and all of a sudden, the game plan went out of the window for the Packers. As long as they can keep it together, they lead the league in time of possession, keep the daggone ball, and you'll be able to win this game. They're at home. I don't think this is going to be some gargantuan win just because they topple Tom Brady at this age. Aaron Rodgers is probably the quarterback you take after Tom in terms of all the other guys that have been in this current era to win a Super Bowl, and I think they'll do it on Sunday.
So let me get this one right. The Week 6 game where Tampa rolled Green Bay is proof to you that Green Bay will win this game.
I think that if Green Bay doesn't get completely out of sorts when something goes wrong early, they'll be able to do so and recover at home in a way that in a playoff game is what you're supposed to do. Not in sort of all of a sudden decide that you can't do anything and you got to just start airing it out. That's not going to be.
And Woody Page, how about you?
Well, I'm pretty stupid, but I've been confused by what the.
Thank you very much, Woody Page. It's the most accurate thing you've.
Let me give you an answer. No hesitation. Rodgers did have an off week then. He threw back-to-back passes in the earlier game. That's not going to happen. This guy doesn't throw interceptions. He's not going to play at home and turn over the football. When they don't turn over the football, they are 10-0 for the season. You also have to remember this. Everybody talks about the streak that the Bucs have been on. Guess what? The Packers have won more consecutive games than the Bucs are. I would rather have Rodgers in this game than Brady in any game.
You've got Rodgers, you've got turnovers being the key to the game, and you've got Green Bay. Kalisha, I still don't know who you picked or whatever. Just yell it out, please.
I've got Green Bay. The idea of 4 people picking against Tom Brady. This is how we look. What are we doing here?
So you're second guessing yourself immediately, which I love. Sarah, you've got Green Bay. Clinton Yates, you've got Green Bay. We'll move on. Buffalo, Kansas City. Let me say this first. It's okay for you guys to mention the Buffalo Bills once in this answer, all right? And we go weeks and years without you guys doing that. Mahomes, Third straight day of practice, he was cleared to play today. So we know that was the concussion protocol. Also the toe, maybe. What impact do you think all that will have on Mahomes and this game, Clinton Yates?
I think the toe is a bigger deal than the concussion. I know that sounds weird to say, but I presumed he wasn't going to play unless the concussion was cleared. But the toe is an issue because I still think he needs some mobility. But I overall think the Bills have a pretty good shot at this if they don't go nuts and just start blitzing him. Okay? Mahomes gets up to 150-plus rating when people bring extra rushers to him. So if you can stay back and you can stop their guys, you can beat them. But that's going to be hard. The Bills do have a better offense, though. So I actually think this Bills Mafia, I think the Bills are going to...
The Bills have a better offense than Kansas City? Is that what I just heard from Clinton Yates? Statistically...
They score more points per game. Yes, they do.
Yes, okay. There was one game where Mahomes didn't play at the end of the season that changed that. Woody Page, how about you?
Well, there was another game where the Bills went up against the top scoring defense in the in the NFL in Miami at the end of the season, too. So it kind of balances out.
Woody Page, how about you?
Is he through? I would like to just give you 4 words. Doom, dom, ba, bay. Under pressure, as we were told by Bowie and Queen, and that's what we're going to see.
I had no idea what he was doing.
The Kansas City Chiefs. Well, you know the song. Everybody knows that song. Okay. Under pressure on my mind. Guess what? That's what's going to happen to Mahomes from the Buffalo Bills. They're going to put the pressure on him. Then that's going to make the difference in the game. And I would add that the Bills didn't have any kind of running game last week. But guess what? They are this week because their quarterback, Josh Allen, I saw him as a junior in college run play after play after play in bad weather, and there's going to be rain in Kansas City. He's going to run the football.
I think Buffalo didn't run it last week because they didn't really need to run it. They knew what they could do against Baltimore, and I think they know what they can do against this Chiefs defense. I don't think Mahomes being 90% or whatever he's going to be makes that big a difference because I honestly think Buffalo is a better team. Now, can they go on the road and do it and something they haven't done and these players haven't done? Yeah, I think they can. I think Diggs can have a bigger game than Tyreek Hill. I think Josh Allen can play at Mahomes' level. I think they will win it.
This is an incredible turn around for this panel. Maybe you're threatened by what I was saying. I just wanted a fair and balanced discussion here. Sarah Spain, how about you? What's the path to victory for this weekend?
Yeah, I think Mahomes somewhere from 75 to 100%. The answer doesn't change. What matters is what's on the other side. The Bills defense gave up 472 yards to the Colts. The very next week, they held the Ravens to the fewest points they had since 2009. Which game plan and which team shows up to take on a really difficult Chiefs offense? To Clinton's point, Patrick Mahomes is great when you blitz him, and if you do it too often, you're going to get killed with the deep ball. But to Woody's point, you don't drop down to 3% and go against the thing that's been working for you all year. So...
The point to the point to the point, Sarah Spade. I'm sorry. You did Freddie Mercury on Halloween one year. We're all under pressure. Too much time. Buy ourselves next. Section last night in the second quarter of Golden State's loss. Referee John Butler thought Green was yelling at him. Green was yelling at James Wiseman, his teammate. The refs admitted they got it wrong at halftime, but Green was still ejected. He told Marcus Spears, the undefeated, that should be something that could be overturned. Refs overturn calls all the time. Clinton, should that be something that could be overturned?
I think it should be something that should be overturned, but in general, I really hope this is not what the Warriors are getting back to. We all know Draymond's specific reputation, but also back when KD was there, they were having issues with this. Please don't go back to that. Just play basketball, guys. You guys are fun to watch.
I'm selling that because you don't have the mechanics in place in the NBA to overturn an ejection. They should, though, suspend the referee for a couple of games, and they should take it off Green's record. It shouldn't count as an ejection. That's the only way you can
suspend the referee for a mistake. Tim Calisher, where are you on that?
I think they should interview the referee. I think it's more than just overturn. If you're not even sure he's yelling at you, you're calling technically, well, I thought you were yelling at me. If you don't know that, keep your whistle in your mouth. It should be blatant disrespect when a referee has to call a technical foul.
Yeah, it should be overturned because the accumulation of those kind of things can affect you later in the season, but it also shouldn't be called in the first place. If he's not up in your face and you don't know he's talking to you, then you should not be worried about it. Keep the game moving.
Lakers 113, Bucks 106. Possible NBA Finals, but Milwaukee's got to pick it up. They lost last night to drop them to 9-6. Tim, do the Bucks seem like the same team, a different team, a struggling team to get over the hump?
They seem like the same team, and not so much the Brooklyn game the other night. That was a last-second shot, could go either way. But Giannis's frustration when he can't get through a defense, when a good defensive team, puts up some sort of wall. He had 9 turnovers, most he's ever had last night. That looks like stuff we've seen in the playoffs.
Yeah, same team. We're going to shut down the paint, and unfortunately, we're going to let you shoot from outside. That doesn't work in today's NBA, and Giannis is going to get his inside, and who's the shooter, who's the closer, we still don't know with this team.
See why?
Yeah, but I'm not going to judge a team like the Bucs or really any team in the NBA when they're playing against the Los Angeles Lakers, who are head and shoulders above every other squad in the league. KCP is on a torrid streak from 3. Giannis could barely even get to the free throw.
Okay, but the goal is for them to win a championship. They may have to play the Lakers when they compete for the championship.
My point is, in a spot situation, I'm not looking about anybody in terms of how they play against the Lakers, because the Lakers are crushing everybody.
Woody Page.
Well, Tony, that goal may have to be realized a year or 2 down the line, but I was not that depressed by what I saw last night. I think Holiday's made a real difference to that. When you've got 3 guys scoring over 20 points in a game, that means they've got a good trio. We talked about trios on the show a week ago. That is a damn good trio in those 3 guys.
Holiday plus minus last night may have been minus 15. Yeah. Wow. Callis almost passed Yates there in the last seconds. How did that happen? Timmy,
a phantom.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Yates, Page, no time to talk. Showdown next. Duke and Kentucky, unranked and on losing streaks. Kentucky's lost 3 straight after losing 6 straight earlier this season. Clinton Yates, what's the biggest story? Which team's more likely to miss the tournament?
I think Kentucky is more likely to miss the tournament, although the last time both of these teams missed the tournament, Woodrow had a beard and crazy glasses and suits going on. But look at the schedule. Duke still got
Whoa. You, sir, do not get to look at the schedule.
It's definitely Kentucky, because Duke's going to figure out how to do it during the ACC tournament and get a long ways, and I think they'll be considered the same way that some of these football teams that got into bowls will. Kentucky is the worst team I've seen since I was in college.
The worst Kentucky team you've seen since you were in college. How dare you, Clinton Yates? Trademark, look at the schedule.
I learned from the best.
We move on. Stay with college basketball. 50 for Naz Hillman last night, but Michigan lost to Ohio State. That's the second incredible Michigan-Ohio State highlight of the week. Zaya Holman last weekend storming back in the 4x400 to win. She's a Michigan runner. This is her first race, I believe, in college. Can't watch these comebacks enough. Woody, who did you come here to praise?
I came to praise both of them. I mean, to score 50 points, even if you lost a game, such an accomplishment in college basketball with the shorter minutes. And that comeback, I mean, I've covered a lot of Olympic events, but I've never seen a comeback that was that far away when she did it.
Yeah, there's nothing to be taken away from the fact that it happened in a loss, but I'm here to praise Zaya. Why? Because she matriculated at Georgetown Day School, the home of the Mighty Hoppers in Northwest D.C., where I'm from. I've known about her since she's been running in high school. Props to you, Zaya. You're the fastest person I've ever met with my actual face.
Inside information from Yates. That'll get to the point. We'll move on. Showdown 3. Steph Curry's
Wardell.
A reporter called him Wardell. That was his reaction. And then after drawing a foul, he posed for a photo. That was his reaction last night. Clinton, what was better?
To me, it was him reacting to his first name. We all know he's a clutch player, so that reacts on the stanchion was one thing. But I know that look when somebody gets a little too comfortable and starts talking to you out of pocket.
Oh, come on, Clinton. He was having fun with that. But I think the photo, you're in the middle of a game and you slide on the floor and you peer around the press table and have a photo made, that's fantastic. That's the best moment of the game.
Woody Pace, pose for a photo right now. We want to capture your face as Clinton Yates gets the win at 30 seconds of FaceTime.
I'd like to call some attention to the story of Delonte West. He's from the D.C. area. He's another person I've been watching since high school, and we've all seen his struggles with what he's been dealing with from a mental illness standpoint and everything since he has been out of the league. He's been reunited with his mother with the help of Mavs owner Mark Cuban, and he's got a job after being in rehab. I got to tell you, for all of the things and the stories that we've seen about players and people getting back to things, for Delonte to get back on his feet with the help of the public, it warms my heart in 2021. I'm glad that we can finally see people helping folks. when they really need it.
Thank you so much for saying that. Mental health does not discriminate. How we